Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're going to be having our final review of Urn by Obliviscaris. So I'm going to open up the floor here, talk about what I liked and what I didn't like about this album after listening to it for an entire week. And I have to say that this album was good, but not great. While I enjoyed listening to this album over the course of a week, on my transit rides, it was really nice. If it's a rainy day, it feels good listening to all this going on with, that kind of atmosphere there outside. But I felt not really that everything got repetitive, but nothing was really grasping me. Okay. A really solid album will have things that jump out at you really strong and make you go, oh my god, like, wow, what was that? I have to check that out again. And you look forward to hearing that over and over. This album didn't do that very much for me. But I didn't really, have a bad time listening to it. I still enjoyed what I was hearing. I couldn't really complain too much about the content of this album.
I feel you there, yeah.
One of the things that did stand out to me, though, was a part in Eerie. Let me see my timestamp here. At 4:47, there's a little part that starts, and the time is in 7. Usually in music, people will play a 7-note grouping in 4/4 time, or any time in 4. But what they did right here in this song is they played in 7, but they played a 4-note grouping, which is almost the inverse. And I found that interesting, because that's not really as common as playing 7 over 4. So that was a cool thing that jumped out to me there. And you'll hear it more in the song as it goes, but it starts at 4:47. Stuff like that is, what really jumps out in an album to you. But I didn't, other than that, I can't really say there was really too much that was jumping out.
Would you say Eerie was your favorite song because of that? What song did you prefer the most on this album? Because I do have a favorite.
It's really hard to say. A lot of the songs, I don't want to say sound the same, but they give me the same kind of feelings.
They all have a very similar feeling.
So I can't really actually say what I really liked the most, because it all kind of blended together and it all gave me the same kind of headspace.
Well, I'll tell you, for me, you mentioned Eerie, and Eerie has my favorite part on the entire album. And I wish I had a timestamp, but I didn't get a timestamp on it. But it's this part, it's like this little violin part, and then it plays like a little violin riff. Would you call that a riff? I'm not sure. And then it just blends so smoothly into the double bass just starts kicking in. I don't know. When we listen to it again later, I'll point it out to you, that part. But it's just such a beautiful part, and I love how it sounds. And I always turn it up extra loud when that part's coming on, because it soothes me. But my favorite song on the album, it's got to be the last song, Urn Part 2. That song, to me, overall has the best structure. It has the catchiest riff. It has the coolest drums. Just overall, the best grooves. Overall, that's the best song on the album. The only part that I don't really like is the intro, because the intros of these songs tend to be a little long and drawn out. Minus maybe Intravenous, which was the single that they put out, which is probably my second favorite song on the album. Close second to Urn Part 2. But, the first song, Libera Part 1 and Urn Part 1, those songs might as well not exist to me, because when I'm listening to them, it's not that I hate them, it's not that I dislike them, but as you mentioned a minute ago about things not grabbing you and not standing out, that's exactly how I felt about those two songs. Libera Part 2, I think should not even exist at all. That song's a waste of space. It's basically, it's the outro to Libera Part 1. I mean, again, there's nothing bad about it. It's not like I turn it off or anything like that, but it just feels like filler, and I don't like having filler on my albums when I'm listening to music. I'd rather have full orchestrated music. But like you, man, I did enjoy listening to the album, but this is gonna be a really hard one to rate, because we're rating it for you guys, right? We're not rating it for us. This is a review channel for you guys to check out our reviews and kind of get a taste of maybe if you might like it or not. But this is a hard one, man. It really is.
Yeah, it's difficult, and I found that despite how the atmosphere was enjoyable, it wasn't standing out to me as an album. And one thing that kept getting me, there were two things we commented on last week in regards to the mix of this album: the snare drum and the harsh vocals.
Yeah.
The snare drum really bugged me at first, especially when we were listening to Urn Part 2. It was really getting to me, but that kind of phased out. I stopped really hearing how bad the snare was mixed, but the harsh vocals kept bugging me. And it's not that I have a problem with how the harsh vocals sound. I think they sound good, and they fit the atmosphere that the music is creating. But it always sounds like it's behind the music.
Yeah.
It's like you have the music here, and then the harsh vocals are just like peeping up from behind, like, hey, I'm over here, you can't hear me. You know, it's behind. I feel it's so behind.
I get
and
the
it's
same.
not
I
in
get
the
the same vibe.
forefront.
I get the same vibe.
And I checked out Citadel. I checked out Portal of Eye, and that problem wasn't really as relevant in those albums. So I don't know why they kind of dropped the ball there with this one.
Yeah, I feel like this album was mixed poorly too. And you know what? Poorly is not a good word because it's not bad. It doesn't sound like a heap of trash or anything like that.
Yeah.
But there are some minor things that kind of just make it not as enjoyable as we think it should be. Like you said, the snare drum, maybe you got used to it. I didn't. The snare drum bugs me on this album. There's some weird noises that happen in certain songs. It's like this weird wobbly kind of noise, like underwater. I thought it was the snare at first, but after listening to it several times, I'm like, is that the bass? Is that something else? I don't even know what that is.
Do you know what song?
I'm pretty sure it's Earn Part 2. Not sure. I can hear it in my head right now, but I just can't remember what song exactly it's in. But the snare drum altogether on this album just sounds weak. Very weak. There's no beef to it. There's no power in it.
It's really damp sounding.
A lot of ghost notes, too. Every song, this drummer
Like,
likes
guys,
ghost notes.
You keep hearing it in the back of your head, like it keeps coming around, the ghost notes.
So, yeah, I mean, I want to rate this album objectively, but it's hard because subjectively I'm very torn.
Yeah.
But objectively, I'm looking at it going, you know what, it still is, I mean, it's kind of a masterpiece in a way. Just the way it's like he's got the violin in there and, you know, the rhythms are really good. The vocals are really nice, even though the harsh vocals sound mixed a little bad, but the clean vocals are amazing.
But does it compare to their other work as well? Like, how could you compare this album to Citadel?
But see, this is the thing. I'm not rating Citadel right now. I'm rating Earn. And I don't want to rate Earn compared to Citadel. I want to rate Earn as its own album, you know, as its own entity, because I think that's the only fair way to really review an album. You rate that album as it is. If you start comparing it to this, comparing it to that, you're going to start swaying your score, right?
Well, that depends. I mean, if you look at something like Citadel and you say, oh, they did this way, but then on Earn they did it that way, and I'm not sure if that's as effective as how they did it on Citadel.
That's very true. In that case, I would say Citadel takes the cake very easily over Earn. I really like Citadel as an album. This one, like I said, I enjoyed the whole thing, but did I really like it? I don't... Really liking it is not something that I feel comfortable saying. But, you know what, let's go ahead and give it the ratings.
All right.
So
I mean, we've already talked about how difficult this album was to rate, and I've been tossing and turning. You know, today I got home and I thought to myself, like, what do I do? Like, I'm thinking, what is it? But I think, in all fairness, this is a good album. I'm not gonna say this is a bad album because it's good. It's well put together. The songs are enjoyable. Mm-hmm. But there are things that just keep bugging me and things that aren't grasping me as hard as, you know, really top tier albums will grasp me. So I'm going to give this album a 6.5 because I consider a 7 like a definitely solid album but not toe tag level. This album is good. I wouldn't say it's super solid because there are things about it that are bugging me, like the mix, like the fact that nothing's grasping me. So it's down near 6 territory, but I feel like it does have some edge to it that I can still enjoy. I can still put this album on and enjoy it, which is why I give it the 0.5, 6.5. What do you rate this album?
Well, I do agree with a lot of things you just said. However, I feel a little differently in the sense that when you said things didn't grab you at all, certain things did grab me. Like the part in Eerie I mentioned, and Earn Part 2 is a song I actually really do like. I really like Intravenous as well. But again, the first song, Earn Part 1, the second song, all those songs are kind of just wasted space to me. Nothing really stands out. If those songs had a little bit more oomph to them, a little bit more diversity to them, just something more that stood out, then this album would probably be getting a toe tag from me because it is masterfully made and the mix isn't horrible to the point where I want to deduct points for it, but just because 3 out of 6 songs is all I like, I can't give a toe tag for an album like that. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10, a little bit higher than you because things did jump out at me and they did, you know, make me want to come back and listen to it again and more and, you know, enjoy it and stuff like that. So I really wanted to give it a toe tag. I did, but I only like half the album. I can't give a toe tag to half the album, even though those 3 songs that I do like are really, really good. But that's it. 7 from me, 6.5 from Mr. TV Fish here. And that's it. That's our review of Earn.
Yeah, I mean, guys, remember to like, comment, favorite, subscribe for more. Tell us what you thought of the album. Tell us what you thought of this album compared to Citadel or Portal of Eye. Because I'm interested what you guys think, comparing all these albums together. See if they dropped the ball with this one or if it was more consistent with this one. I'm curious to know. We're curious to know. But that's all there is. I'm TV Fish.
And I'm Vile Self.
We'll see you guys later.
Later.